What is up, you guys? Have you ever wondered what is the strongest soul inside of the Roblox Dragon Soul game? Well, guess what? I'm going to be showing you guys 5 of the strongest souls stat-wise is what I'm going to be talking about. So what gives the most stats? What does the most damage? That's how I'm going to be basing off of. I'm not going to be basing off of how useful they are or overall how good they are. That's for a different video, guys. If you do want that video though, leave a comment down below and I'll definitely make that video if you want to see what is the most useful soul in the entire game. But we're going to be going over what is just the most powerful soul, what has like the strongest raw power in the game, and we're going to go over that. All right, and I guess we ought to start with our strongest soul in this game, and that's going to be the God of Destruction soul. Now on the wiki it says that the Beast soul is the strongest, but after doing some research and testing both souls inside of the game, it does look like the God of Destruction soul gives me more stats over the Beast soul. So that is going to be our strongest in this list. So before we actually show the stats inside of God of Destruction, we're going to go ahead and show you what it looks like in my base form. So here's my stats in base form, all 0, the 7,027 points I've invested into strength, and then here is my power level. And then the stats for the God of Destruction soul is plus 900% in strength, plus 1100% in key power, plus 750% in health, plus 900% in key max. It lasts for 240 seconds and it is a 0.32% per second fill rate, which is equivalent to 320 seconds to completely fill it. So overall, it's a pretty good soul with a combined 2000% stat buff. Now let's go ahead and go into the God of Destruction soul. Let's go ahead and activate that and see what my stats are then, and then see what my power level also is. Alright, so let's see what my stats look like. So my stats now, I've gained an additional 77,000 inside of strength, 96,000 in key power, 58,000 in health, 500 in speed, and 86,000 in key max. Now let's look at my power level. My power level is now 3.4 million. It was previously about 22,000, so quite a bit more. Now let's go ahead and look how much Obliteration Storm does. It is the strongest move for the God of Destruction soul. So out of the 4, it's the strongest. So we're going to see how much damage it does. So it looks like it did 7.4 million damage, guys. So not too bad. Some pretty good damage, you know, not bad at all actually. But this is going to be our strongest soul inside of the game. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the second strongest soul, which is going to be the Beast soul. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go over the stats for the Beast soul. And so it looks like it gives a additional 800% in strength, additional 1000% in key power, 600% in health, and 900% in key max. And then the Beast soul lasts for 240 seconds. The fill rate is 0.32% per second, which is equivalent to 312 seconds. And then we'll just go ahead and show you guys my base stats, show you guys my power level, and then I guess now we can go Beast and see our stats then, and then see the power level. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at our stats now. Okay, so it looks like a little less than the God of Destruction soul. So it looks like we got an additional 51,000 in strength, additional 70,000 in key power, an additional 48,000 in health, 500 in speed, and then 58,000 key max. And then our new power level is 2.5 million. Now let's go ahead and try the strongest move for the Beast Soul, which is also the strongest AoE move in the game currently. So this should do a lot more, at least, well, actually just a little bit more than Obliteration Storm. But here is Bestial Roar. Okay, so that did 13.8 million damage, so a little bit more than Obliteration Storm. So overall, a little bit weaker than the God of Destruction Soul, but then it does have a stronger move compared to the God of Destruction Soul. So overall, a pretty good alternative if you don't have the God Destruction Soul. Now let's go ahead and move on to our third strongest. It's gonna be the Savior Soul. Now it did recently get a buff too, so it's a lot stronger. It actually used to be like one of the worst souls really to use after the Confident Soul, the Peace Soul, and God Destruction Soul all got like their buffs and added to the game. But it recently got itself a buff, so now it's actually super good, especially if you're a melee build, since it pretty much has all melee moves. But let's go ahead and go over the stats that the Savior Soul gives, and that's going to be a plus 850% in strength, 750% in ki power, 700% in health, and 600% in ki max. So not as much compared to God of Destruction and the Beast Soul, but overall still pretty good. Now, of course, I'm going to go ahead and show my stats. Got to show you guys my stats first, just so you can remember. Here's my power level. Let's go ahead and activate Savior Soul and see what my stats are afterwards. All right, we're in the Savior Soul, and here are my stats. So looks like we got ourselves a additional 49,000 in strength, an additional 43,000 in ki power, an additional 41,000 in health, plus 500 in speed, and then a additional 38,000 in ki max. So pretty good stats, guys. And then it looks like my power level is 1.9 million. So not too bad. Like I said, not nearly as good compared to the God Soul or the Beast Soul. But let's go ahead and use our strongest move, Heaven's Wrath. So it looks like it did 1.2 million damage. Not too bad. Like I said, not as good compared to the God Soul or the Beast Soul, but overall a really good soul to use, especially because the moves have such a low cooldown. Like, you know, I'm just able to spam punches and stuff, but I'm just able to use spam moves over and over. So pretty good. And look, it adds up. It adds up fast, guys, especially with the burn damage. So don't leave that behind. But it looks like the duration is 380 seconds. So of course it's going to last longer than the two souls mentioned before. And then it looks like it's going to be 0.28% per second, which is equivalent to 357 seconds to completely charge the Savior Soul. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our fourth soul. Now this one actually got nerfed, and it seems like a lot of people are quite mad about it. Me, not so much now that I have the Beast Soul and because the Savior Soul got buffed, but that's going to be the Confident Soul. Now the Confident Soul has a plus 600% in strength, a plus 650% in ki power, a plus 500% in health, and a plus 650% in ki max. Now, the Confident Soul charges at 1% per second, which means to fully charge it, it will take 60 seconds. Now, unfortunately, I do not know how long its duration is, but I'm thinking a little around 2 minutes. So as always, let's go ahead and show you guys my stats and then my power level. And let's go ahead and activate the Confident Soul. All right, now let's look at our stats now. So it looks like now we have an additional 52,000 in strength, an additional 57,000 in ki power, an additional 42,000 in health, an additional 500 in speed, and then an additional 750,000 in key max. So not too bad actually. Let's go ahead and go down here and try our strongest move of the soul. So looks like that last hit did 2.3 million damage, but then there was a part where it did 30,000 damage. It just stopped because there is a little bit of downtime with the animation. So I'm gonna say about 2.5 million to 2.6 million damage with our strongest move. So not too bad, not too bad. Let's go ahead and move on to our fifth and final soul. All right, and our last soul for this video is going to be the life soul. Now, the reason why the life soul is our number 5 is because just about every other soul in the game just doesn't have a stat boost or just not a great enough stat boost. So the life soul gives plus 50% in strength, plus 150% in ki power, plus 50% in health, plus 200% in ki max. And that's if you absorb it. If you absorb it, that's what you'll get. If you just activate the life soul, then it has one of the best moves in the entire game. So the spirit bomb soul does one of the greatest burst damages in the game. So let's go ahead and see. I'm going to show you guys my stats. We're actually going to absorb the soul. So here's my stats now. Here's my power level. And we're just going to actually go ahead and absorb it. Now, this is going to be the first time I use it, so I might mess up. So yeah, okay, so we're absorbing it now. So we've just absorbed it. So now here's my stats. We got plus 5,000 in strength, plus 5,700 in ki power, plus 1,900 in health, and then plus 7,600 in ki max. And then here is my power level, 42,000. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and activate the life soul once again, but this time we're gonna use the spirit bomb. So that did some pretty good damage right there. And that's just why the life soul is the 5th strongest soul in the game, because it just does some good damage. And then because, like I said, it's going to be strength, and like, you know, raw power wise. So has the most stat increase compared to the rest of the souls. That could have been in spot 5. That's gonna be the end of this video. Let me know if your favorite soul made it. Drop a comment below, smash the like button, and then make sure you subscribe if you want to see some more Roblox Dragon Soul content. This video is very fun to make. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But until then, see you guys next time. Peace out.